Made in New Orleans is underwritten by Art Plus Design Magazine, New Orleans Auction Galleries, Gallery Orange, and New Orleans Living Magazine.
Hi folks, I'm Steve Martin and welcome to another Made in New Orleans. We've got a great show for you tonight. First, we're going to visit with Colombian-born artist Gustavo Duque and local artist Anthony Clark. First though, let's take a look at Gustavo working in his studio in the Bywater.
My name is Gustavo Duque. I'm from Colombia. And I live in New Orleans for 17 years. New Orleans is a special city. When I came to New Orleans in 1997, I love the city, but when I crossed the river, I said to my wife, this is my city. She said, why? I said, this city is so beautiful. The architecture, the food. And then I start to discover who is the people that live in here in New Orleans. This is the most friendly city in the United States. And that's why I live in here. So I find the passion for this work when I was 15 years old. I am real bad at maths and all this. And then in the size, I'm going to study marketing and advertising, so I need to draw in that time. There's no computers. And my father, he had a friend, he's one of the most famous artists from my city, Medellin, Colombia. So I spent 5 years with this guy, learning everything, cleaning his brush, and I'm going over there, sit down with him and say, okay, this is the way you paint it, and this is the way you clean your brush. So clean my studio, and you can spend 3 or 4 hours here. To be an artist is like, for me, be an artist is my life. Passion is everything. This is a full-time job. You have to be an artist. Be an artist is not came to the studio 1 hour and just make one drawing or one painting or painting one painting every 15 days. You have to work so hard and believe in yourself. The more you're painting, the more you're learning. So if I compare my paintings maybe 20 years ago, it's not the same paintings I have right now. It's like the doctors or architects. The more creation is more demanded. The more professional you are, it's more demanded. Every day I'm learning something for my work, and I love it. The people recognize me because I made landscape with a couple that represent the love. Landscape that reached me because this world is so beautiful. So I try to catch the beauty of the world through the landscapes. Always I have people in my paintings. There's not many people. I think I have just 1 or 2 paintings that nobody's there, but always you see my silhouettes of people in my work. So I try to express myself, what is my feeling, and what is the feeling for the other people. So I can paint in the hate, I can paint in the love. It's not only landscape, it's emotional landscape. I try to say, when you lost something and you want to be there, it's just do it.
Welcome back. We're joined now in the studio by a really good friend of mine, Gustavo Duque. Gustavo,
Hey,
thank you, man.
Thank you, Steve, for inviting me.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm more happy than you. How are you?
Tell me, I'm great. Tell me, and everyone, your journey. Where did all of this start? How did you come to New Orleans?
I came to New Orleans because Luis Colmenares, you know him, he's
Yes.
a good friend of mine and good friend of you. He saw my work in Miami. So he's looking for me, and finally, after 1 year, he got my number and he say, "Oh, Gustavo Duque, you are from Colombia. I want to invite you to New Orleans." He said, "Okay, great." And I did my first show in Magazine Street, 1997. And I don't sell one painting, zero. Because the painting, it was so big, it was real spiritual and dark. It's not the flavor of New Orleans, happiness and all this kind of stuff. So they moved the gallery to French Quarter, and they're open next year. And Herman Kron and Alessandra Monet, they are partner in that gallery. And Alessandra Monet, she's working in Europe. And she said, "Gustavo, I want you to open the gallery with me." I said, "I don't sell one painting." And she said, No, you are good, you are good. So I'm working so hard for 1 year to prepare for the show. And we sold everything in 40 days.
There you go.
So
That's the way it happens.
I love that New Orleans.
Well, you are from Colombia, you mentioned, and tell me about growing up in Colombia and how that made you the artist that you are right now.
Colombia is very interesting country because we have great artists, and in that time, in 1970, 1960, and 61. So in 1960, all these master, Botero and Mansour, Obregon, they are traveling to Europe because you cannot make money being an artist in Colombia. So they are moved to Europe. And in 1981, I made my first trip to Miami. So I'm a businessman at that time. And I had 2 kids, and I'm working so hard for this. So one day I decided to be an artist. So I moved to Miami, and it's funny because one of the most amazing what happened to me is the Colombian consulate in Miami. They have beautiful gallery.
Right.
And I go over there, and I spoke with the consul and say, I want to ask him, this is my work. Oh, okay, I give it to you, blah, blah, blah. And then when I get out and sit down waiting for my sister with $1 in my pocket, $1. And somebody came in and said, "You are an artist?" He said, yes, I am an artist. He said, I'm rolling my paintings. And he said, "I can see, what do you have?" I said, "Yes, of course." So I opened the paintings in the street. And he said to me, "I like it. How much for that?" He said, "I don't know." And finally I said, $1,500? He said, "I can give you $1,000 now in cash?" He said, "Yes, of course. Come to my shop." He's a hairdresser. We're still friends. His name is Rodolfo. And he's still my collector right now. We are good friends. And he gave me $1,000. And then he said to me, "Come back Saturday for another $500. So I am an artist. That's why
That's where it started.
That's where it started. But all in my mind is what I see in Colombia for Botero, Obregon, all these Grau, real great artists we have in Colombia, international artists. Always is in my mind all these masters.
When you look around the country and you're doing your shows that you do, how does living in New Orleans and working here help you? How do you feel about that?
When I travel and when I make shows in different countries or different cities, I say I'm from Colombia, but my hometown is New Orleans. Because I love I love New Orleans so much. I have everything because of New Orleans. New Orleans opened the door for me. They opened the door for international collectors. They are national collectors. I have collectors for New York, for California, for Atlanta, anywhere. So Miami, yes, but After I start showing in New Orleans, I start to sell more in Miami. I never understand that. So I think in New Orleans is international city. We have 10 million people that are coming to visit the city every year. So it's a great exposure.
You use the figure, you use landscapes. They're not of New Orleans. They're of places in your mind that you've developed from how you've lived your life. Can you expand on that for me?
Landscape is what, for me, when I was in Miami and I'm going to the Latin American Museum, and the director, I very naive, I'm going over there and I say, this is my work. And he say, okay, this is like Picasso, this is like Van Gogh, and this is almost like you. And with this one, maybe you be rich. With this one, you can make it. And with that one, you die struggle, no money. So what did you advise? And he said to me, just combine. And I combine, I start to painting like Picasso, but with the show in New Orleans, I discovered the landscape. So I started traveling a lot. In my mind, I never take photographs, but all looking the landscape in different parts of the world, and enjoy to express the landscape. But for me, it's more important what you see in my landscape, because always has people.
Right.
So you can see the solitude, you can see the love, you can see the hate in my work. It's more emotional landscape.
Your landscapes are something that you're revisiting now because you just came off of a body of work called Artist Rage.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about the thought process behind and a description of Artist Rage?
Artist Rage is, that take me 4 years in my life, and I'm thinking a lot because I'm searching about the brutality in the whole world. I'm from Colombia. Our country is completely different right now. 20 years ago, there are many people that are dying in Colombia with violent guerrillas, all this kind of stuff. So I start to make one painting for, right now it's in the presidential house in Colombia. They are called Colombia Kidnapping. And then when I did a show in Paris, in France, I have one painting, and the ambassador that are going to see my show, and it's about kidnapping people. And he saw the painting, and he said, I want this painting in my house. He said, but I need for tomorrow. He said, okay, you can lend to me. Yeah, no problem. I said, no, I give it to the country. I don't give it to you, but I give it to my country. Oh, thank you, maestro. And he invited me over there to beautiful party. When I saw over there inside my painting, he was Botero here and my painting in the nest. I said, oh my God. And the ambassador there called me many times, people talking about your painting. And it's about kidnapping. So after that, I decided I need to make something more serious. So I'm going so deep, and with University of Loyola, I did a forum about my city, and I did the whole project about kidnapping, all this kind of stuff. Is installation, and I made around 6 big paintings. And I'm happy now because 2 paintings that are going to the museum. The Freedom Tower in Miami is where all the Cubans, their entrance in 1960. There are 2 of this painting of this collection. So it was a long process for me to paint in this one.
But you felt it was important as an artist to have your work inform the world about social issues and injustice. So as an artist, you used your canvas as a storytelling board to launch these awareness ideas for people, right?
Yes. I remember one of the questions somebody asked me about this show. I say, it was so sad for you? He said, no, I enjoy my work. It was sad when I searching, when I go into the internet to check it out, all the information I need. But painting is painting. So, because it's a beautiful painting, technical, I love it. It's very dark painting, but that's my job. It's like the photographer when they're going to cover the war, they're take photographs, and I enjoy my work. In the end, I'm very satisfied with this. I think I changed some people that are going over there because I put a white paper on the people that can say everything about my show.
Commentaries.
So the commentaries. So many people that say beautiful thing and say, "Thank you, you changed my mind. Thank you, this is what used to be Colombia. Thank you for this." So it was great. In the end, I think I changed somebody.
So it's nice to step away from that now back into work that you've visited before with the landscapes. You're in a new studio in Bywater.
I have my new
Tell me
studio.
about that.
It's a place I have for 12 years. So when I come back from Colombia, because I go into Colombia to disconnect with the artist rage and be surrendered with the landscape. And this is the place I want to be my studio. I had the restaurant in the corner, the coffee shop, the bar. and I started to build this studio. I'm very happy. And I'm feeling so comfortable working there. And I still work in the landscape.
Mm-hmm. So that's the body of work that you're building up right now?
Yes. I think I worked in 1 year before. So my next show is next year. And I try to make a huge collection about the environment because we cut a lot of trees in the jungle, so we have problems.
Right.
So the landscape is, I try to do something related with the environment.
Right. Where can people see your upcoming show, the one you're having next year? Next
year, Ario Dante that represent me in Julia Street, and this show I need to prepare is for Miami.
Okay.
Where
do you show in Miami?
I show in Miami with the gallery. This show is not at the gallery. This show is in the museum. They take the two paintings. So they are working together to prepare a huge show for the museum, big canvas, around September, October next year. So that's what we're working right now for that show.
Gustavo, thank you so much for joining us today.
No, thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
I tried to do the best with my English,
you did awesome.
I love you so much, and thank you. You have a wonderful, wonderful show.
Thank you, thank you. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with more Made in New Orleans.
In the 1970s, the Preservation Resource Center led by example as they set up shop in a forgotten part of town on Julia Street. Since then, the PRC has worked to protect and rebuild New Orleans, house by house, block by block, and neighborhood by neighborhood. To learn more about the PRC and its programs, call 504-581-7032 or visit our website at prcno.org.
Joining us now in the studio is Anthony Clark. Anthony, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
All right. You're a native-born son of New Orleans.
Yes, I am.
How did you find art as the medium that you wanted to live and work in?
That's a good question. You never really find art. You're given that gift. I had it when I was young, but I didn't know it was a gift. So, people called it doodling. And said that's all you did in school was just doodle that. The thing about it, I kept on, I would go into class, do my homework faster than anybody else. And then after class, I was just drawing all the time. It was really up to me to catch it. In between time, I was doing things like socks at the time. Fox socks were out. I would take the fox off one sock and put it on 30 pair of socks just to change that sock. So I was always sewing or always crafting with something. Sometimes I didn't have a lot of tools at the time, so my sculptures was hammer, screwdriver. I made what I had, worked, with what I was trying to do. In between, that was trial and error.
The artwork that you do is what? It's three-dimensional art. It's, give me a description of how you would describe, make someone aware of what you do.
That's a good question. I was told three-dimensional was a 1/4 inch off of the sheet. So sometimes I can take a picture and stretch it from one room to the other side and still keep the same 45-degree angle. So I would say I'm out of space or something like that. But yeah, it starts off as a three-dimensional, but I will linger on. It depends on what picture I'm trying to see and what's the dimension of what I'm trying to capture.
What inspires you?
My kids.
Okay.
My kids. And just visual, just seeing people. You know, sometimes I just watch people just to appreciate the person. I'm 42, so I'm coming into the time to where I'm learning to appreciate self. I got away from art to find other jobs in order to, you know, help me in the financial burden. But really, what I was getting away from is really what it came back to. Meaning I was trying to find a job that I already had.
Right.
Yeah, I know it takes time. In between that time, it takes a little bit of appreciation. But again, that was trial and error for me.
Who would be an inspiration that you could call out? Somebody that you looked up to as an artist, someone that maybe informed what you do. Did you study any artist in particular?
No. And why I could say that at the time, at first didn't like to read a lot. Just was a picture person. Just watch pictures. And really until maybe 36 or 37, I really had nobody come up to me and say, you know what, we've been paying attention to what you was doing, or we noticed this or that, or can you go to NOCA? We didn't get that. I wasn't told, and I was talented. I was sewing at the time. I mean, when they came out doing the wigs with the hair, I was doing the hair. I was doing the fingernails, you name it. I was just embedded in beautifying things. And I started tearing up my own house.
Right.
So
when you're looking at the world around you, how are you visually informed by the world? What do you draw from your environment?
I slow it down in my mind.
Okay.
So even if you put me in a field with 3,000 people, I still could see each one of them. And again, that's where I go to appreciating the mind. I love the fact that we can think, because the more you go to using it, I understand. And why I say that, the word the movie Lucy, where she was interacting, I watched that movie and I thought about that, and it really was the truth. So sometimes I would go into these situations and put myself into these situations. For instance, some people say, you never draw no more. I'm the Edward Scissorhand of phone, meaning I don't have to. If you put that phone block right in front of me, I just walk straight to that block. If I wanted to shape you, Steve, I'm going to shape you with the foam. In between the extra sandpaper, I'll get the fine detailing, but I can put it out just like that. And I say it's just part of the gift. It don't matter whether it's a pencil I was using or a nail I was using. So, you know, I just try to stay with it. It gets hard in between time.
So you basically take things that you find in the environment, you take your experience of living in the environment, and then you fuse them together to create your art.
That's right. You have to. You don't want to have a piece of art that's not green. That way, you know what, it's breaking up, or either it's creating some type of chemical from killing. So all of that was all introduced in this three-dimensional art before I got it together. I wanted to have something that was different. I wanted to have something that we use the household pieces from, joint compound, glue, foam.
Everyday stuff.
Exactly, and I wanted to make it odd. I was always different in school. I was always an outcast. I'll tell people now, I love being an outcast of what I was, because I knew I was something different. I couldn't tell you that then, but as I got older, the appreciation came.
Yeah, yeah. But you're a real artist because you're not doing it to please anyone else. You're doing it for you.
No, tried that, just the thought of that. You know, you're an artist too, and some people say we don't get good with constructive criticism. Constructive criticism is fine, but show me some appreciation before you start criticizing me. Other than that, constructive criticism is a great thing. That is how you determine art. Most people don't look at art the same. They're never going to always like your art. That's cool. You should like the concept.
Right.
Or one of the concepts I have. But then if you don't, that's fine. I figure people like that might have a little problem with themselves, so they're okay for a moment.
Do you have any kind of upcoming shows that you're going to do here in New Orleans or anywhere else?
Yes, of course. I'm glad you asked that question. I got commissioned to do statues for the bicentennial.
Okay.
So actually, I and Al Jackson, we working on them now. Their first fundraiser is on the 16th of November, and they actually pushing it. So I'm just in peril, just waiting on them to come through so I can start getting my equipment to do what it is I want to.
Can you give us a sneak peek on what that's going to be? What you're going to make?
Well, actually, yeah, it's 4 statues. 1 enslaved, 1 free man of color, Jordan Banks and Noble, who was the Milano who played the drum in the War of 1812. A lady, she's a free lady of color, which was the nurse who was helping during the war. And I'm excited because history is me, and it's becoming to me it's the most crucial subject that's forgotten about, because out of everything else we do, I think history is worth more than gold. You know
It informs the future.
Exactly. Right? If I go back and got one of them cannons that General Custer had, they would pay for that. That's a part of history that we can only get that one time. So I look at artists different. I understand that's my family. I understand them more, and I just kind of like, stay to myself or whatever. When it's time for me to blow, I will.
How do people find you? Do you have a website?
I'm just on Facebook, but you know what? I'll invite so many people to my house till I have work till they start talking about it.
Mm-hmm. So word of mouth, social media.
Or just Chris Pictures at Facebook, you can find me.
Chris Pictures.
Yes.
Okay. Anthony, thank you so much for coming in today. It was a pleasure to meet you. It was a pleasure to hear about your artwork. I'm glad that you had the opportunity to tell us about it, because I'm sure everybody would want to go check it out.
Me too.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with more Made in New Orleans.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
That's all the time we have tonight. Please remember to support the arts in our community and tune in next time for more Made in New Orleans.
Made in New Orleans is underwritten by Art Plus Design Magazine, New Orleans Auction Galleries, Gallery Orange, and New Orleans Living Magazine.